Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today, man, have I got a great video for you. We are going to be talking about night driving at night. You know, I get a lot of questions about that. You know, hey Coach, do you have any strategies? And we're going to be doing this series on questions about the skills of riding, and I'm doing my best to tread as much ground as I can with the questions that are constantly asked, because that's what you want and I'm here to deliver. I don't mind doing it over and over again if that's what you need. You know, that's how we learn. All right, so let's talk about night driving. But before we get going, do me a favor, give the video a big old fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. But enough of that, let's talk about it. So the biggest piece of advice that I have about night driving, honestly, is don't do it. Now I understand that, you know, you're gonna have to sometimes. I drive at night, I do. I don't really enjoy it a whole lot, and the older I've gotten, the less I enjoy it. And you've probably experienced the same thing. Mild halo effects around headlights, temporary blindness due to the headlights that are super bright, especially the big high pickup trucks with those crazy LED lights that are look like a dadgum train coming down the road. I mean, it's crazy. So the first thing is just avoid it if you can. When you can't avoid it, just understand that when you do it, there is risk associated with it, and you need to be aware of your surroundings and be very, very cautious about what you're doing. All right, so let's talk about the first real rule about night riding. And this is one that is going to sound so commonsensical, but I can't tell you the hundreds of people that I've seen do this very stupid thing. And one of the people that has done it is this guy right here. This guy's an idiot. What was he thinking? And that's wearing a tinted visor like this. This tinted visor is beautiful during the day, and I'm going to tell you, the anti-glare properties of this thing are absolutely stellar. And when I have a car's headlights coming at me, this thing is awesome, and I love it. But the one thing that it does is it makes it freaking dark. It makes it real dark, and you're going to be less prone to pick things up. A pothole in the road, a tree limb in the road, maybe a tree in the road, a kid out at night, which maybe they shouldn't be, but they are. A broken down car that doesn't have any taillights. An old trailer that someone's broken down, they're changing the tire on their car and there's no reflectors on the back of the trailer. You know, and you come barreling around a corner and you see it at the last second, and it's just too late. So understand that wearing a tinted visor looks cool, and it does, but don't be riding at night with them. It's just not a good idea. So what do you do if you have a tinted visor? Well, you either bring a second visor or you wear a clear visor with sunglasses on. All right. Then of course when it gets dark, you take your sunglasses off. Okay. All right. So there's number one. May sound awfully common sense, but you know, there it is. All right. So the next one. At night, your breath is going to be more prone due to the mugginess around here and the drastic change of temperature when it gets warm in your helmet and cooler outside. Your old visor is going to be more prone to fogging up. And I'm going to tell you what you need is a pin lock. Oh, I know what you're saying. What the heck is a pin lock? I had a pinworm once, but I don't know what a pin lock is.
So a pin lock. What you're looking at is a face shield with a pin lock attached to it. The pin lock is the little shield in the middle of the overall face shield that appears to be tinted. It has a bead of silicone around it, and it locks onto the face shield, creating a small layer of air between the external face shield and the internal pin lock. And what it does is when you are breathing in your helmet or there's a big variance in temperature, it doesn't fog up as much. Now here's a picture of what pin lock, they give you an idea of what it looks like. The difference, the left hand side would be your face shield without a pin lock, and the right side would be your face shield with a pin lock. I can tell you on cold mornings, now this is obviously, you know, pretty dramatic difference, but on a cold morning when I'm riding a helmet that doesn't have a pin lock on it, it is extremely frustrating. And if you get used to a pin lock, you will never go back. So now There it is. You know what a pin lock is.
All right, well, there you have it. That's what a pin lock is. Pretty simple, very basic, but very, very effective. Now, also, I will tell you that the pin lock, what it can do is it can do weird things with lights. The way the light refracts and you have the extra layer of glass there, or the extra layer, it can do weird things with light. So be careful. Look at Wild Turkey running there. Just be very, very careful with it when you're at night, because lights can do weird things. All right. Number 3, speaking of lights, know how to use yours. May sound awfully common sense, but there again, common sense went the way of the horse and buggy sometimes. Here's what I mean by that. In the fog, do not run your bright lights. In the fog, bright lights don't have the distance. It gets diffused in that moisture that's in the air, and all you see is the light washed out in that moisture. And then all of a sudden, you can't see very far down the road. And that's very, very dangerous. So make sure that if you're in a foggy or wet environment like, you know, we have here a lot, make sure you're not on your brights. My daughter was driving with her brights in her car one day, and I was riding as a passenger, and I'm like, what are you doing? Turn your brights off. Yeah, well, I can't see very far. I need my brights on. Turn them down and see what you see. And she's like, oh, wow, that's much better. There you go. See, it wasn't hard. It's not complicated. But there are people that they just go, their default is bright lights if there's not a car in front of them. So make sure that when you're in a foggy scenario, you've got on your dims or your dippers or your low beam, whatever you want to call them. I always called them dims when I was a boy. And you know, I know in Europe they call them dippers, and now it's low beam, I think, is the common vernacular. As with understanding your lights and how they work, also understand this. Understand the performance of your headlights. Now, when I'm coming around a curve like this, I only have a certain amount of distance vision. There could be something there, and you're putting yourself in danger when you come flying around a curve, because you don't know what's up there. But on a straightaway, especially if you're traveling, and we're normally on highways at highway speeds, we're moving fast. We're covering a lot of ground fast. Remember, if all I can see is the distance from here to that sign right there, I'm not going to be able to stop in time. If the distance that I can see is from here to that second light pole, I'll be able to stop in time. That first light pole, it's questionable at 70 miles an hour, I can tell you, because the Spyder performance-wise will do it, but you have to get your foot on that brake pedal and react, and that takes time as well. So remember, just because the Spyder will do it or the motorcycle you're on will do it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will. So don't outrun your headlights. That's the old phrase that I learned as a boy. Do not outrun your headlights. So no, go out on a road like this. Like this is an open country road, and get to a place like right here and sit at this telephone pole, turn your lights on, see if you can see that other telephone pole. Look at the lights. I want you to see what it does. You're looking into just a black field. You can't see what's out beyond those lights. Now watch this. You see that? There's a truck right there. There's cars there. There are things that you cannot visibly see when you're riding without those brights being on. And when you're riding and you're going 60 miles an hour, that car that we cannot see without our brights is literally right here. It really isn't that far. And this is a very well-lit neighborhood, so don't outrun your headlights. How far you can see down the road, how far you can actually see and identify something. Pick a sign, pick a mailbox, and see how far you can go down the road and actually see it. You'll be amazed how far you cannot see. Now, not only do you have to contend with the lack of distance that you can see with a headlight, you also have to deal with night blindness. Let's talk about night blindness, what that means. Now, anyone who uses a tactical flashlight when they're defending their home, or they've learned tactics where you mount a light on a firearm, or you use it as a method of self-defense. You've learned like Krav Maga or something, and you've learned to use a light, not only the weapon of the light itself, but also the weapon of the brightness of the light. You learn that, man, you can blind someone, man. I've got a flashlight at the house that will blind you. I mean, I'm going to tell you, if I shine in your eye for more than a second or two, you're going to be down for a few seconds, and that's all the time I need to put a world of hurt on you. So understand, when a truck is coming your way and he is barreling down on you, and he's got his headlights are sitting about right here, and he's an idiot and won't turn his brights off, and he's got those brand new LEDs that are like 2,000 freaking lumens, and he's coming at you, and you're like, holy crap, I am blind as a bat for the next 2-3 seconds. So how can I mitigate that? Well, I'm going to use one word as a trick to fix that. Here's your word: arg. It's called a pirate. You know, pirates always wore the patch. Everybody thought, well, pirates, man, those guys, they must haul them pirates, man. What, did a fish eat their eyeball or something? No, it did not. You know, pirates were out at sea all the time, and they were out in the sun, and they would step down below deck and all that stuff. And what they would do is they would keep that patch over their eye, and then when they would go down below deck, they'd lift that patch. They could see with their left eye because it was already adjusted to the darkness. So if you have a truck coming at you and it's really, really bright, close one eye. Close one eye. That way, when that truck goes by you, when you open it, you're not blind. You can see in front of you. I'm not telling you to drive with your eyes closed. Some idiot will say that. I know, we always have them. But don't drive with your eyes closed. But you close one eye for a few seconds, then open it, and you'll be able to see ahead of you. Because if you don't, you're going to be blind in both eyes. And that's just the way it is. So understand, that is just a simple solution to a complex problem. And the very last thing that we're going to talk about is depth perception at night. I'm going to share a story with you, but before I do that though, be sure, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel. Enough of that, here we go. Man, I'm like a walking freaking commercial here. What's wrong with me? So years ago, I'm driving down the interstate running 30 minutes late, because that's how I conducted my life when I was a young man. And I was on a Suzuki 750 with a little mini racing fairing, and I was hauling butt down the interstate. It was cold, and I was going to work, and I was behind schedule. I was in my early 20s, and I was always redlining everything in my life. I am just barreling down the interstate, and I know my off-ramp's coming up here in the next mile and a half. So as I'm driving, I see these red lights way up in the distance, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know, I'm leaning way down low, and I'm just flying. I'm going to say I was doing well in excess of 55 miles an hour. I'm flying, and all of a sudden I realize through the fog that's developed on my face shield that those lights aren't in the distance. That is an 18-wheeler. Yep, a big old diesel truck, and I am looking at the marker lights around the back of his rig. I do a quick push with my left hand, and I lean, and when I did, I could have reached out and touched the corner of that 18-wheeler. Yeah, that close. You know what? Had I not turned in the very last second, I'd be dead probably. Just flat out, I'd be dead. Your depth perception, and with condensation developing, and what you think you see, not what you see. I had 20/20 vision back then. It's not what I saw. My brain had told me I was seeing something that was a lie, and I believed it. And you will do the same thing. Be very, very, very careful at night, because your depth perception, it's not 100%. There are too many variables that can change in an instant, and you don't realize they're changing. It was kind of a foggy, cold morning anyway. I thought that fog was out there, not in here, and it created a real problem, a problem that could have killed me. All right, well, you know, everybody wants a bonus, right? All right, here's a bonus for you. Make sure that everything that you look through is clean. I'm going to tell you, whether it's daytime or nighttime, that windscreen and this windscreen need to be cleaned before you leave. They need to be wiped down every morning. If there's moisture on it, wipe it down. If there's bugs on it, wipe it down. If there's nothing on it, wipe it down. Wipe it down before you leave. Make it a habit. Make it part of your walk around. You need to do it. If you don't do it, you're not going to see clearly, and you're going to get seriously killed. I'm telling you that as a friend. I don't want you to get run over by a Mack truck and be, well, then you'll be thin like you always wanted to be and be able to slide you under the door. But remember that. There's your bonus. If you're going to ride at night, and even if you're going to ride in the daytime, make sure everything is clean. When you do your walk around, clean that face shield. I seriously mean that. You know, look, I watch people ride, and I don't criticize folks. Like if I was with you and your windshield looks like somebody pooped on it all day and you don't want to clean it off, that's on you. You know, I'll watch you. I won't say a word to you. But you're watching my channel. Yeah, you're watching the Coach Bob 3 channel. And so I'm not telling you what you do to your motorcycle when you how to ride. I'm advising you. This is a video to give you strategies, and one of the strategies is keep things clean. There you go. But if we're riding together, I ain't gonna tell you to clean your windshield. You can watch me clean mine. You wait for me while I clean mine, or you can leave. I'll probably catch you on the side of the road anyway after you run into the back of that truck. Coach Vic gets frustrated with me. I clean the windshield at every stop. I have those real soft microfiber towels, and I'll get just a bottle of water and a microfiber, and I'll clean my windshield. And then what I'll do, I've got, you know, a detail type spray, and I'll spray it down and clean it real good, and it'll look nice. And even if it's covered in bugs 2 minutes later, well, that's the cost of doing business. But it needs to be done. And you may not notice, but you get the what I call the grunge. You get the grunge, that film that develops inside your face shield. You don't see it. It's not really dirt, right? It's from your breath, I guess. That funk. That gingivitis jumping out of your mouth onto your face shield or your helmet. That's what it is. And, you know, in your car, it does the same thing. You know, you're like, man, why does everything look opaque when I'm looking out of it? Then you get a rag and wipe your windshield on the inside. And it's like, wow, that's awfully clear. Yeah, things get dirty. So make sure everything's cleaned up, inside and out, on the face shield, inside and out on the windshield. All right, well, there you have it. A bunch of strategies and a bonus, man. Look at that. It can't get no sweeter than that. So yes, you do me a favor. Go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now, you go seize the day, and I will see you on the road real soon.